Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another wondrous Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane. Today's fight, a 1 vs 1 on Moscow. We shall be watching Obscura fighting from the north for Germany, for Deutschland, for the 23rd Panzer Division, going up here against Newton, Rukasil Newton, fighting for the Soviet Union, comrades. And the 320th Guards Rifle Division, we're noting here assault grenades popping out here for Obscura, moving out with their MP40s, and noting a dual assault grenadier start, in fact, from Obscura. Ooh, and a hiccup, but not from Obscura. We're noting here a bit of a spread up from both players. In fact, we're also noting here that Newton starts out with a early support weapon Campanella. Fascinating. Doctrines, in fact, already noting a doctrine chosen as well. We are noticing Guards Motor, so Guards Motor versus Mechanized Assault. Interesting. There'll be definitely a chance of some heavy armor afoot here, plus of course some elite infantry from one side and some assault infantry from the other side. So moving out here through the back yards of different places, through the streams. Ach scheiß, now my boots are wet again. Points of that being secured. Looks like some emphasis there on grouping up the assault guns that could definitely serve to overpower some unfortunate Russians rather quickly. First, Maxim. Apparently had some Russian gentleman explain to me it's Maxim, and of course that's probably the way if it's Russian, if you're sort of pronouncing it from the Russian side. The problem is I'm rather pronouncing it from the British, in which case it's Maxim. So of course it's rather a bit, in that case, at least for the Maxim's case, if you're Russian or British more in pronunciation, in which case against Maxim versus Maxim. Or Maxim. I don't know, I'm not entirely sure, but something like that apparently. A bit about where you place your emphasis, of where you stress your words, and all that.
Grenadiers ready. Red Army unit attacking.
But I think I'll stick to Maxim simply because that's what I'm used to saying. So my pardons to you, my Russian viewers. It's just going to be a bit too confusing for me if I have to sort of deal with pronouncing it in two completely different ways, or at least stressing it in two different ways. Anyways, pushing rather aggressively here, Obscura rather interestingly going straight for the fuel point. Boldly, very boldly in fact. I mean, in Communies 2 we don't see so much early aggressive harassment of the fuel point. I mean, it was rather common stable in the first game, but here in the second one, you know, less rare. But right here we do see Obscura making a push for it. In fact, we're seeing a larger assault party setting up. It looks like he might be aware something's going up. It looks like he might be even trying to draw something in. He's probably aware that his opponent has Maxim, so of course he's going to be careful. And noting here, he might want to spread them out a bit so they actually have a chance of sort of luring it in and then attacking from either side, making it harder for it to sort of deal with both units at the same time. Grenadiers arriving, and MD42 so far up here covering things, covering the cut-off point. We are seeing here that Newton is making a straight push, in fact a return favour against Obscura, going for his point there with a Maxim instead. Interesting. This is definitely a bit rare as you saw such aggressive attack towards the fuel points from both sides on the new Samoski. A bit of Bartwires going up here. Yeah, we'd better, you know, via off these bushes as well. There we go, first assault gun in the unit counters the Maxim. Other one might want to move up here, most is the Maxim. Mortar also out, the Granatenwerfer. And a leichte Maschinengewehr für these Grenadiere. Maxim here continues to fire away on the assault grenadiers, but the other assault gun is going to flank the Maxim. And there we go, sort of having again a bit too slow here. The assault gun continue moving about there with MP40s. Poor Federal went down. And there we go, Yuri, Boris. At the same time, the Grenadiers' assault here did not go out so well. Heinz went down. Absolutely shredded to the guts of this Heinrich. But a nice mortar hit almost wipes out the entire Maxim crew. And And there go 2 assault grenadier units holding up near the fuel point. That's definitely going to require a larger force from Newton to push off. And we're seeing some Maxim crews moving now. Maxim crews. And we're noting also some guards, the rifle infantry, MD focusing up here. Might get the MD crew there on the retreat, but no. Looks like Vasily there made it out of there alive.
Are securing our territory.
Mortar team awaiting orders.
At the same time here, setting up to probably cut off the retreat path of the assault grenadiers. Well done, concerning proved to be hazardous.
Out of contact.
No DPs for these gentlemen as of yet. Assault grenadier. Ow! Pinned just before the man to take the fuel point. Bit unfortunate there. Fuel point now has been secured. Bunker up. 2 grenadiers, 2 assault grenadiers, MG, and a mortar. And then we got assault is going to encounter the Guards infantry grenade in the right place. Could do a lot of damage here. And certainly assault gunners do struggle a bit with Guards infantry. There we go. And several assault gunners go down here on the retreat. Flamethrowers also in their wake. So far, Newton holding on much to the map. Of course, I imagine initially Obscura was perhaps not so concerned with map control, just denying fuel to his opponent, which is all right interesting. But again, ultimately, he is forced to pull back. You know, considerable note is forced again to have to sort of redeploy. Well, Newton will be grabbing a lot of the map. And mines, there we go. Good spot for a mine. Good spot for a mine right around here. Splendid there by Newton.
Grenadiers reporting.
Mines wins wars. Medic bunker on the way, assault guns reinforcing, taking up going on. Maxime setting up in the church. Ready to deliver a sermon on the virtues of socialism. And meanwhile, combat engineer squad flanking up with a flamethrower. As they're going to get placed, and there we go, the nice hit from the mortar actually. Then these forced to retreat. That's really nicely done there with the mortar, doing a lot of damage so far. Already 7 kills. Impressive, impressive. Maxim needs to be a bit careful. Maxim needs to be a bit careful. Troops here, definitely ready to move out once more for Obscura. And veterans one for the mortar crews, the Granatenwerfer. Coming take up sitting there within the old farmhouse. While guards move up through the centre of the village. No light machine guns yet here. Engineers need to pop out of the building. And it looks like they're going to see if they can't lit the mortar crew on fire, which they don't quite succeed in. Maximum in here, this is going to be a bit dangerous. Obscura's position is rather exposed at the moment. Forced to pull back here. The assault guns still need to move. Mach schnell, Männer. More mines going up there. Good. All the engineer units are now a bit depleted. So that's going to happen at a much slower pace than otherwise. MG crew getting shot by the Maxim mortar firing away. Looks like bombarding. Maxim, though, so far holding up quite nicely in the ditch, although they are a bit clumped up, so it's a bit dangerous to fire away with the Maxim there in the ditch. It might suddenly turn into a mass grave. There we go. Nice. Great. That fragmentation. Oh, good lord. So many troops come down. Just barely hit retreat there in time. Otherwise, that could have been a game-changing moment. Oh, but in the ditch. Several of them took a hit. Not looking good there. Mortar continues to rake in the kills for the fatherland. Obscura needs to press a bit more on the left flank, and we're also knowing here that so far Newton is taking advantage of the map control he's holding to sort of push ahead with the Tank Brigade Battalion Command, and certainly also 2 munitions points. That's definitely also going to help him. And Maxim making a move, Maxim making a move here, though a bit dangerously so. Straight into Grenadiers for the MG and the Assault Grenadier. Other Maxim pulling back. Conscript moving ahead. More mines could be an idea right around here and so on. I mean, again, 2 munitions points. I mean, that's going to be a lot of resources. He can expend a lot of things. Oh, mortar set off 1 mine there. Bit unfortunate, but there's still other mines under Minen. And taking up here pretty aggressively. No, like the mechanized company, clearly here Obscura is rather boldly confident in the situation, so he's not exactly expecting any kind of armor rush, which you expect, apparently anticipating he can get up a support armor corps and something from it before it's too late. That is definitely a bit bold. That is definitely a bit bold, and that could easily prove to be, you know, a fatal mistake.
Mortar team awaiting orders.
In particular with the amount of map he's been holding for some time, but then again, there is one factor again, the fact he was able to deny his opponent the field for so long. So again, I mean, in that regard, you know, it's not entirely a bad idea, and again, that might be why he put such an emphasis on the assault grenades down here again to hold it for as long as possible. Nice use of the assault grenades right there, clears out half the crew, leaves the rest not feeling exactly too happy either, as concussion grenades blew out the guts. But ultimately, it was not quite enough. We do in fact see T-3476 has arrived for Newton.
Our opponents are seizing a sector.
We do also see that the support armor core is ready, but there's not quite yet a sign of a Panzer IV. That so far looks like the T-34 is not quite yet rushing to the front.
No!
Bit of mortar fire and such. The center of the village is the main battle zone, and up here,
How can we help?
oh, sets off the mine, killing half this squad. That could have gone better. And there we go, veteran 2 for the German mortar crew, increasing rate of fire and accuracy. But at the same time, T-34 to the rescue of the Soviets, that is. Oh, a heroic Panzerfaust, but he himself gets crushed as he fires it.
Taking small arms fire.
How unfortunate.
We get better every day here.
Done doing what they can here. Conscript might want to get out of the building. T-34 moving in. And a flank rolling up here in support with a Maxim. Showing a lot of losses inflicted upon Obscura. And actually it's over to Newton. Pioneers here might want to pull back. Another Maxim firing away. Pioneer in trouble. But at the same time, Panzerkampfwagen 4 to the rescue. With the pintle-mounted machine gun already up as well. And a bit off before he can utilize crew self-repairs. Maxim moving ahead pretty aggressively there, and immediately takes a high explosive shell, wiping out half the machine gun team. That's definitely not an auspicious start. And there we go. Currently there's very little that can really sort of stop the Panzer IV, and the T-34 has its rear exposed. It certainly does not make it any harder for the Panzer IV. Guard teams are doing know what they can with their PTRS from the church. So far though, the PTRS and the T-34 has actually been able to do some damage to the Panzer IV though, impressively enough. Could try and button up the Panzer IV. He's certainly got munitions to pull it off. He's in fact got a lot of it. And a Maxim here building its own. A quick assault there with some grenades. Could clear it out. Or sufficient amount of mortar rounds.
The sector is at risk.
I think a T-34 right now would be an idea. Or maybe he is saving up for a pair of T-34-85s. Maxim taking up here in an odd position, showing that the entrance into the village is going to be a bit painful.
One of our machine guns has been silenced.
And a machine gun actually got wiped out somewhere. Not entirely sure. Oh, inside that building, right. Guard seems to be moving up. Rather low on health as well. They have to be careful here. Newton needs to be careful. Although he's going to get an immense penetration bonus there for Veteran D2, but still need to get them out of there. Retreat, comrades.
Ready for action.
So advancing here, Maxim continues to hold up here. Assault is caught on the middle of the streets, but managed to make it into the house, albeit still a bit pinned. Field gun up as well now to help Newton secure the centre of the village. Assault grenades being pushed away by the T-34. No, but too good here for the Maxim. No, the assault grenades, to be honest. But there we go, mortar might change that situation. Interesting enough, no mortars at all from Newton in response, no heavy mortar, which could have helped him quite a bit in this kind of fighting. But a second T-34 rise, Maxim, another one lost. That is 2 Maxims now. That is hardly an impressive statistic.
They've opened up on us.
Let us see if we can do something with those T-34s and lay down some pain upon those Hitlerites.
We're under attack.
MB4 to the left defend. 2 T-34s rolling in. Maxim firing me up point blank as well. This is not looking good for the machine gun crew. MB4 too light to get lost here. Yeah, we go. Now the T-34s just need to move up. And once more we might be seeing here Obscura is being pushed back here by a third offense. Veterans one there for the Panzerkampfwagen. Grenadiers assault is moving up. Pioneers getting gutted. Marked vehicles up. He's got the munitions for it. It could be an to actually use it on the Panzer IV. Now we go. Perhaps a bit late though. A bit late. Looks like going to make a move there with the T-34 if he can't get it. Might he just do it? Oh, a nice hit there from the Panzerkampfwagen. Fear sends it crashing down just outside the map range. Very unfortunate there. T-34 Panzerfausted. And as all of this is happening, a Sturmgeschütz holds in. Support the 23rd Panzer Division's engagements right here. Another Panzerfaust, but also another loss for the Grenadiere. Field gun might want to pull up close here to the front line to support the retreat and cover it. At the same time, self-repairs are available. Though Newton should be careful not to do so close to the front line, as it does leave them rather exposed. They can't do anything while they're repairing. So generally you want them sort of, reasonably away, so there's still some time to, sort of get them out of there. Stop the repairs. So that, for example, is a bit of a poor position to repair. Boris, yes, perhaps we should not be doing it out here right at the front line. Shut up and hand me that spanner. Field gun here might also want to pull back. That mortar's definitely proving a bit of an issue here for Newton's defences. Also demonstrates right there the central victory point. And a half-track full of Panzers, a mechanised assault group. Lovely. Not a bad idea, although I'm not entirely sure we should be sending it up that far when our tanks are bound, which, could punish it. I think rather he should be using it in conjunction with an armoured assault. Having something that can keep up with the tanks. And of course right here we see the immediate problem here with Obscura's tactic right there. It is very vulnerable right there. Panzers need to just retreat. Half tanks likely not going to make it out alive. A bit of a shame. A bit of a waste of resources there. And there we go. Half track kaputt. Leichtgeschützen Panzerwagen. A Leichtgeschützen Panzerwreck. Another marked target here, this time on the Panzerkampfwagen field. Guards, riflemen. With Veteran E2 firing away, T-34s could also likely move in. There we go, both of them attack Veteran C1. Grenadiers in the way though, we might see one Panzerfausted. No. There we go, Panzer 4 though is Veteran E2, but still it's taking a lot of damage here due to mark vehicle. Guard rifleman suffering a bit there. An attempt at ramming, but not quite. Instead we're seeing Veteran here for the T-34. Panzer 4 trying to get out of there. But stopping up, keep pulling back towards the base, Obscura, towards the base. Pioneers wiped out. Quick souk, quick souk. Another hit then, Veterans is free. That Panzer 4 can't really survive another hit with marked vehicle on it. Sturmgeschütz moving up. And there we go. Blown up, a Veteran 2 Panzer 4 lost. He should have pulled it back towards the base there. Bit of a poor decision there, but at the same time he might get the Veteran 2 T-34. Rear exposed. Flank exposed overall. And we are seeing that Obscura here is taking nice advantage of this with his Sturmgeschütz. T-34 blown out, and that was a Veteran 2 T-34. Not good.
Awaiting command.
He should have just tried to get it out of there. Instead, he ended up feeding that strongest. So it's a nice bit of veterancy. Certainly putting it quite a lot closer to veterancy 1. At the same time, another one here self-repairing. At the same time, getting rather close to a pair of T-34-85s. Also looks like he's out of munitions now. But time for the Mick Gimnell's concentration for Newton is, I mean, he suffered a few setbacks now. He had most of the map. He also had a bit of an armor advantage in some regards, but again, he sort of lost at some few unfortunate armor engagements, rather resulting in the waste of a veteran 2 T-34, which is generally not very helpful. And of course, the lack of mines in some regards, is not helping much either. We do have some demo charges here and certain things that might make it harder for his opponent to move up. We also, he's got an MD-42 stolen from his enemy, which is definitely also going to provide some assets, but at the same time, I mean, he's having a bit of a problem here with this veterancy 3 mortar, and overall this Granatenwerfer has done quite well in service of the Reich to actually reach veterancy 3, and also got 29 kills, 30 if you kill some poor German, caught by it as well. So I mean, in that regard, he probably would have benefited much early on from a heavy mortar, and certainly not too late to get that. It would actually do a lot sort of Obscura's advances, make things a bit more difficult, could also provide some smoke to in certain cases, allow tanks to sort of quickly close in, but right now, clearly the main effort here is a pair of T-34-85s, and certainly well handled, they can do a lot of damage, certainly wipe out a lot of infantry, and certainly also take on a lot of the medium armor currently available for Obscura. In that regard, he should definitely play them cautiously, and again, he also needs to get a bit more, sensible with his self-repairs. He does have a slight tendency of, doing it in some perhaps not so well-considered areas where he could easily find himself targeted and under attack while repairing, so that's something he actually needs to be a bit careful with. Our munitions cache right now, all the fuel cache could also prove helpful. The munitions cache would certainly help more towards marked vehicle, self-repairs and mines, and again he needs more mines. Here would be good spots to mine, and around here would also be some good spots to mine. He's also got the advantage currently in terms of victory points. I mean, again, if he can sort of hold things up reasonably well, he should, be able to pull it off. But again, things are crumbling, and again, some slight mistakes here with support units and the likes have rather cost him heavily. So that is something to keep in mind. Heading over to Obscura, and also noting in terms of damage, I mean, they're actually pretty close. But on the other hand, Obscura does have the kill advantage. But again, there's definitely a chance here for Newton to come back if Obscura makes another cock up. Because again, he made a mistake here, moving on his Panzer IV, which he then lost because he didn't pull it back in time. But also the mechanized assault group, which could otherwise have done a lot of damage. I mean, they should not be overestimated. But again, he's on much too on his far. In the end, though, he was able to capitalize on it because again, then Newton and everything, and he was able to actually ambush it around here and actually cause a lot of damage. I mean, it's not all a waste, but again, that one rather felt like a waste in the end. It didn't actually get a single kill, I think. That's hardly good. But he needs to push ahead, needs to secure some ground around here. He could also consider securing the field gun, and the maximum he definitely needs to buff up his forces and his force strength overall. And a fuel cache Malto, I mean, he could consider right now actually saving up for the Tiger tank, which could definitely provide him with some considerable punch against Newton. More Panzers could also work out. Another Panzer IV or another Stuk to work with the first Stuk could also be a definite option in facing off against the Soviet hordes. But right now his main priority should be securing the village and setting up a defensive perimeter, a strong point, making it harder for Newton to sort of dominate the map like he's done so far. Also pull up the mortar a bit closer again. I mean, overall with veterans, if you just get a nice range increase, but at the same time you don't want, to get too close either. Or well, too far away either. So there are definitely some things here to consider for both sides. And things can certainly change, particularly with the T-34-85 pair on the way. I mean, there's definitely every possibility right now that Newton rolls over Obscura, because currently Obscura lacks rather severely to actually throw back that.
Enemy armor is engaged.
So back to the fighting here. Grenadiers might want to be retreating. The Grenadiers, or Guards, I think, also need to retreat. I mean, those veterans, the 3, but down to 3 men. Versus light machine gun squad, all of these themselves onto 1, but there we go, retreat, retreat. Run, comrades. Stuk needs to be careful, he might get flanked here by the T-34, which is getting awfully close to veterans too. Shot failed to penetrate.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
Trying for a flank there, but at the same time the range is too far, which actually allows us to to conduct a nice turn. They're actually being able to fire the T-34, ensuring it can't flank any shots. And we got with the Panzerfaust, maybe, no! Oh dear, the T-34 might actually make it out of the alarm and actually might gain victory too as well. No, still needs to pull it back. At the same time, T-35s are moving in. Massive Soviet armored force. Assault gun is in dire straits there. As the much more viciously armed T-35 moving in. There goes Stuke, is in trouble. Panzerfaust though goes off, but there goes Stuke. Aktuliva might just make it up here behind. One shot only penetrates. The frontal armor of the Stuke proves helpful. Also, fun fact about the Stukes, it was not uncommon for the crews themselves to actually upgrade the frontal armor, at least upgrade them. Will basically strengthen it with concrete, more specifically the driver's compartment. Little fun fact there. Generally, not a lot of tanks were reinforced with concrete, but the Stuke, as an assault gun, actually was. But I'm not entirely sure as to the actual effect, but it seems to have been reasonably common. So, little fun fact there.
Territory secure.
Careful around going demo charge with a mortar round. Don't move towards the demo charge! And then go moving in against the mortar there with the T-3045 with its 85mm shells. The gun here, by the way, based on a Soviet anti-aircraft gun. So, little fun fact there. A little fun fact there. Assault gun is getting pushed away. Other one rolling around there. Assault gun is getting hunted down. T-34 here, that's a much better place right, to do some self-repair. So now we actually need to pull it back to support the T-34-85s. MG-42 needs to be pulled back and reinforced. And mines here will be good. Nope. Bit unfortunate because we do quickly see some assault guns charging in. Bet-22. And we're seeing the Sturmgeschütz moving ahead. The T-34-76 has not moved up. Come on, Newton. And Stuke needs to be careful. But rather the other T-34 reveals itself, giving the Stuke a chance to be a bit careful. Assault is pushed away. T-35 moving in. The other one, why is that not moving in as well? Heavy losses inflicted on the advancing pioneers. And there we go, target weak point. Move it in, Newton. Move it in. Flank, flank, flank. Instead, we actually see the Stuke is allowed to gain vector 2, giving it a rate of fire increase, but also an armor increase. That's generally a bit bad. Still, he's got 3 versus the Stuke, but so far, he's rather playing into the hands of the Stuke by not trying to encircle it and get around it, behind it. He's dead slugging out with it. Pulling back his tanks. Don't turn! Stuke moving in. And there we go, getting behind it, but there's also a field gun. He rams it, but it fails to actually do the trick. Instead, we got the field gun issuing with the T-35 onto the Stuke. Bad position right here for Newton to do the repairs again. He chooses a bad timing to do it. And now start repairing while under fire. While the other field gun keeps away the other T-35. This is a very bad situation for Newton again. Rather failed to push here when he should have, and that's definitely allowed Obscura to make the most out of a single assault gun. Otherwise, he could easily have been swarmed with the 3 tanks and taken out, but again, he rather failed. So that was a definite blunder right there from Newton. Ended up losing 3 tanks to 1 assault gun and a field gun. Also giving the Sturmgeschütz Bet-22. Points though continue to tick down, so it's not game over yet, but it's definitely not looking too good. And again, self-repair here at a vital junction where the enemy is likely going to be heading. T-34 moving on, and What's this? A 120mm mortar finally arrives. About damn time. Stu could do with some repairs.
Panzer IV is ready for battle.
But happily flying away at the T-3045 trying to repair. Almost veterans feeling there. Go T-3476 arrives. Flanks. Oh dear. Guardsman holds up here. Field gun flash. No, that's actually the Pack 40. The Panzer Abwehr Kanone. Can the Stu do it? It does have veterans here, which does make it more maneuverable. Making it fast and all that. So there's a slight chance here. And of course it also fires a lot faster now. But we see Mark vehicle upon it. And there we go. Tears apart the T-34. But the 85 is now ready. Stu turns guard is firing away as well. Misses. Misses. And there we go. T-35 got the stronger shots. Guards Robin fighting here. Burst of the assault grenadiers. A rather close tense battle right here by the corner of the village street. Grenade going off against the assault grenadiers. Taking out another, but the Guards Robin themselves are rather heavily damaged. Panzerkampfwagen 4 has the Reif Obscura. Mortar firing away here. Maxim firing away as well. Guardsman needs to get out of there. Barely just make it, and they get wiped on the retreat. Up Newton right there. Too slow to retreat. T-35 once more repairing. Forced to cancel and pull back. Mortar also in dire straits. I mean, everything's just falling apart here for Newton all of a sudden. Maxim's machine guns getting cleared out. It's a total collapse right here of the Soviet front line. Everything is disintegrating at the moment. Except Newton's will to fight.
We are losing the sector.
And now we see some Panzer Grenadier moving up here. A fresh MG-42 has also been brought up to halt Soviet counterattacks with infantry.
Pack here.
And there might be another T-35-76 on the way. T-34-85 repairing as quickly as it can. And certainly one thing about the T-34s generally were that they were easy to maintain, which is always something. Hardly the most complex machinery.
Reinforcements complete.
Panzerkampfwagen 4 again repaired. Forces moving up here. A Soviet field gun in German service.
It's done.
Once more the heavy mortar moves up, and there we go. Another T-34-76 arrives. Panzer 4 moving in to clear out the church. And this mortar's got 39 kills. I mean, absolutely outstanding work here.
We are in contact with the enemy.
Good use of a mortar. And again, had Newton had one earlier, I think, you know, he could have done to sort of minimise the effect of it. Also noting a bunker up here, that's either going to be a command bunker or a medic bunker, considering to its proximity to the front line. And the fact that it's going to be pointing straight into a ruin. Combat engineer getting shredded here up here close to the front line. T-35 moving up slowly, could try and flank here, but no. Points being cut off. Left and right. Might he try and flank the Panzer 4? No, he's actually pulling back. Heavy mortar also needs to get out of there. And a T-34-76 roaming up north. Veterans one right there. And, ooh, there we go. Actually managed to hit on the mortar. And there we go. In fact, it is a command bunker up.
Our opponents are seizing the sector.
Ein Befehlsbunker.
You need something?
T-34 a bit close to veterans too, but straight in front of the field guns as Paxby's not careful. Nice hit there on the Panzer 4, but there you go, field guns firing away. T-35 quickly forced to pull back. Panzer 4 could go down here, but no, managed to pull back. And kaput, T-34-76 needs to get out of there as well.
Captain! We have orders!
The enemy is attacking.
And Medina firing away.
The territory is out of contact.
And this one is in a bit of trouble here. Field gun moving out. That's the Panzerkanone. T-35 pulled back to the base completely. But into flashing forward, MG42 running, covering fire as the point has been cut off here. MG42 holding up here, blocking this area from being secured by the Germans, at least temporarily.
What do you need?
Not really a lot left here for Newton at the moment, but still he's holding on. For the glory of Comrade Stalin. And looks like Obscura is expecting something rather serious. I mean, he's pulling back his front line quite a bit here. Not too keen on holding up around here at the edges of the village, interestingly enough. But also pulling back here to the command bunker. Also looks like most of the mortar crew got stuck there. Something got anyways. Looks like some machine gun pack members as well. Fascinating.
Red Army, at your service.
Assault goes pushed back with heavy casualties, Maxim moving in. And there go the T-34-85 is ready to once more advance, and certainly this self-repairability and action shortage is a lot less dependent on combat engineers and uses manpower and other things. And MG42 being forced out. Mortar blasting away with fury. Setting up here at the edges of the cemetery, but quickly getting overwhelmed and rushed.
T-34 ready for combat.
Under 80 gun attack!
T-34 ready for action.
Close here to eventually tune an increase in rate of fire, which should definitely help. Grenadiers with a light machine gun holding up inside the ship. Oh! Conscript there got absolutely shredded. I think it was the heavy mortar crew that actually took out most of that conscript rather unfortunately. T-45, he needs to pull back. Newton. Another T-34-76 moving in. Heavy damage then inflicted upon the T-45. Though of course it can absorb a bit more damage compared to T-34-76 as it does have more health. T-34-76 coming under attention from the Panzerkanone. Close to veteran Chief Lee there. And what's this? T-34 down at the same time the field gun is bombarding, well he's attempting to bombard the heavy mortar. Heavy losses on the Soviet field gun.
Enemy infantry! We're under attack!
Maximum crew suffering a bit as well.
You have a target.
And T-35 takes a hit there. Oh dear, careful Newton. You might lose the T-35. Pioneer's taking a heavy loss there. T-35 needs to pull back for repairs. And there we go. Heavy mortar gets the field gun. Heavy mortar completely wipes it out. Finally, a nice hit there, but the T-35 without a main gun. Engine absolutely destroyed. This is terrible. And there's going to squad ready with a Panzerfaust any moment now. The situation is catastrophic and looks like someone tried to retreat through Soviet lines. That's what you call deserting, and surprisingly enough the Soviets shot the deserter.
Another vehicle has been lost in the defense of the Rodina.
Enemy infantry.
Now a Tiger tank has arrived here for the 23rd Panzer Division, though it might be, well, too late. As the battle has already been largely won there. The mortars really, done most of the work. One would be surprised to say, no, so there we go. Veteran to be on it actually allows the Pack 40 to ambush. Nice little thing there. And nice that Obscura utilised it. There we go, another unit wiped out. An MG42. And there we go. Newton has lost the battle. The Soviets are forced to retreat right here from the remnants of the village, which they so stubbornly held to defend. I mean, for the larger part, you know, Newton did quite well, but the problem was a bit his armour tactics were a bit, in some regards, sloppy. I mean, in particular, when it came to pulling them back for repairs, I mean, in several cases, you know, he left them out in the open for the enemy to just shoot up. That was a bad idea. Also, right there with the Stuke, that was really sort of the main mistake. The turning point where he basically allowed that one Stuke to pretty much blow up several of his tanks, including losing a Vet-22 T-34-76, forcing the last one away there. I mean, that was really his massive blunder, and that was probably the point where everything turned around. Until then, he's sort of been alright, even with the other mistakes, but that one really was a massive one. He should have simply, you know, rushed it, and I'm surprised he didn't. The Stuke would not have been able to hold up, but instead, again, he didn't, and that allowed the Stuke to sort of hold up things, take a few pot shots here and there, force one back after does some damage, the other two, again, repairing, meaning there was only one T-34-76, and of course, by then it was Vet-22, and then, you know, well, things rather went from there. Obscura also largely played nice, but again, some things could have been done better. Again, the mechanized assault group up here, the Panzer IV could also certainly have been preserved. I think had he utilized a bit more sensibly, more mines from Newton would have been well. And again, I think had he had the heavy mortar up much earlier, I think this game in many regards looked a lot different. And I don't think then that Mr. Obscura would have been able to keep that Vet-23 mortar going for so long, or at least not so easily, because that definitely played a huge role doing a lot of the kills right here. I mean, that was pretty much 1/4 of the kills right here, 25% of all kills by that mortar. That really says something about, you know, how well Obscura used the mortar, but also how, you know, things have looked a lot different had Newton put more effort into actually dealing with this mortar again, with, say, getting his own heavy mortar. I mean, otherwise, you know, again, nice to see vehicle group training used, but, you know, again, he could have used it in better places. Mark target at times, you know, was great, but, or mark vehicle, but again, sometimes, you know, he could have used it earlier. And otherwise, you know, again, he only had one guards rifle, and perhaps another squad would have helped a wee bit. But otherwise, more mines, I think, would have done effort, and perhaps munitions cache or two, or the fuel cache, which could have helped more, having more of those. I mean, those are things you could have done to sort of more effectively play things. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. I hope you learned a thing or two or three from it. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay, provide some feedback in the comments, and always feel free to share this with all your friends so they can see how great this stuff is. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.